Welcome to the Weekly Social, folks. Everything Katy, Fischer, Richmond, Texas. Today we have Nikki Huynh with Velocity SBA as well as Priscilla Pfaff at Select Title. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're
Happy
welcome.
2025.
Yeah, Happy New Year's, ladies.
Happy New
Yay.
Year's,
And we
everyone.
have Nikki with us to start the year off right.
Hi
Yes.
everyone. My name is Nikki Huynh. I'm with a company called Velocity SBA. And I am a lender that specializes in SBA 7A loan. I've been in banking for roughly 15 years now.
You're not old enough to say that.
And you've seen, in 15 years, you've seen some crazy deals.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. But yeah, so we're here to talk about SBA loans today, right?
Yeah.
Let everybody know, what is an SBA?
Yeah, what is SBA? So SBA stands for Small Business Administration. And primarily what it does is it's pretty much an insurance for lenders such as ourselves, right? As a guarantee
Okay.
on, the loan product.
So it's like the government guaranteeing that loan.
Yeah.
Like FHA or VA.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
There you go.
All right.
Yes,
All right.
yeah.
Got it.
That makes sense.
So they would come to lenders such as ourselves, where we do, the loan packaging, the underwriting, the closing, the servicing of the whole entire loan. And let's just say if a borrower is like, hey, you know what, they're not going to pay us back. Well, what happens is SBA will come in, depending on, the due diligence and whatnot, and guarantee a portion of that, 75% generally.
Okay, so that's
So
similar
it's
to
like the
FHA.
MIP.
then.
Yeah.
It's
like
the,
MIP. Yeah.
That difference
insurance
between
protection.
the amount financed and,
yeah.
the,
So-
the 20%.
So let's just say, if we financed 100,000, right, the SBA will guarantee 75.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So it minimizes the exposure for the lender.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
And it gives access to capital to people that can't get it.
Exactly, the financing.
Okay. All
For
right.
small business owners.
All right.
Yeah.
That makes sense. So the process, about how long is that process if they're, let's say they're they're buying a building and starting a new business in it. How long would it take them to?
Well, so generally, so the process of originating an SBA loan, it just depends, right? It could be, a case by case from, lenders to lenders, depending on the workflow, or it could be, depending on how fast the borrowers can get everything to us. So let's
That's
just say
crucial, by the
There
way.
you
That
go.
is very
That's the
crucial.
crucial part. Yes.
Provide all the docs as fast as possible
Yes.
to the lender.
Exactly. So in a perfect world, let's just say, if Richard here is like, hey, Nikki, I need to get an SBA loan to purchase my building.
Right.
I'm, under contract, right, already, and we need to get this closed in, 25 days. Can it happen? Yes. Maybe, right?
Okay.
Has it happened before? Of course,
Yeah.
No pressure.
No.
Just a little. Just a little.
Yeah.
Welcome to our world. Yes.
But I would say, so, Richard calls me today and he gets me everything by tomorrow. I have literally 2 days to pre-screen to make sure he qualifies, asking all the necessary questions.
It's not a lot of time.
Not at all,
It's not.
So why do you say 2 days?
Well, I mean, for me, if I get a whole package, depending on the workflow of the lender too, you have to be mindful of that, right?
Right.
But yeah, I think we could get it, I can underwrite it within 2 days.
Wow.
And this is just the velocity style, okay?
Right.
So
That's huge.
yeah, Nikki comes in,
Oh,
she
yeah.
packages up, got everything I need. And then I would take that pre-screen and then go to our loan committee and say, hey guys, this is the deal here. He wants to do 10% down. Business qualifies for it and whatnot.
The property's appraised.
Appraisal comes afterwards, but and then loan committee says, yeah, let's do it, Nikki. So right then and there, I send Richard, hey, Richard, here's the application. I need you to get this to me within the next 3 hours, right?
Yeah.
He gets it over to me. Then we order appraisal, order environmental as needed.
Phase one.
Just a phase 1, hopefully. No phase
Yeah.
2.
Or 3. That's why I stay away from gas stations. Nothing against gas stations. I mean,
If they're existing. If they're new.
totally different.
Yeah. But yeah, so, with that process, it could take, so the whole entire, the full underwriting stage from an actual underwriter, that could take them maybe about a week to a week and a half.
Okay.
And then during the same time, we've already ordered appraisals, which takes the longest, as you guys know, right? And then we reach out to title company. The title company is working on it with the art closing department.
Right.
Ours working on it with our underwriting and myself, making sure I facilitate everything.
Commercial appraisal's totally different than residential.
yeah,
A lot
it
of
is.
people don't understand
Yeah,
that.
Oh, true.
Why don't you tell us a little
Yeah.
bit
So
Well,
what?
I'm not an appraiser, but
from your experience, obviously?
well, it's the building, the revenues. I mean,
It's a.
where
what is the-
residential, there's no revenue involved in it.
Yeah.
Right. It's a cost fact. It's the.
It's the
From
income
real estate.
approach.
Yes. Thank you.
Income approach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The sales
Yes.
approach, cost approach. Yeah.
Highest, best use.
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a lot of factors that come into play.
yes.
Yeah. So, I think if we can get everything done, maybe Richard, we can close within 25 days.
Woohoo! I like it.
You want to come do some residential with us?
Yes. Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's
That or
cool.
I may move to commercial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Come this way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I you blow me away because I don't think, and with all the ones that we've done, that I've seen one close that fast.
Really, yeah. I think with our company there was let me see. We actually closed one within 18 days, which is pretty
That's
scary.
cooking with gas.
Yeah, but the
That
thing
would
is
normally be a cash transaction.
Yeah.
you
Yes,
know?
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Right.
I mean, once you start hovering around 15 days, that's a pressure cooker just saying
Yeah.
that. It is.
100%.
Yeah, our team, we work, aggressively. I think I see like some of the closers, they're up into 1
Y'all
o'clock.
are local, correct?
Well, no, actually, our corporate is out in LA,
Okay.
California based, but we're a national lender, so we can lend all over the U.S., right?
Got it.
But yeah, it just depends, our team works, they don't sleep.
But you have a niche, and that's exactly what you focus on.
Exactly. And we're a non-bank, so we don't require deposits just to do your loans. We don't need all those treasury management stuff. We're just like, hey, you know what? We'll do the loan.
Speaking of business loans versus going to a traditional bank, which I have relationships with banks,
Right.
but if I went to go get a business loan through my bank, correct me if I'm wrong, don't they view that more as a signature note versus an SBA loan that you can assist somebody with?
Yeah. So
Oh, yeah.
that would be more on your conventional,
Right.
versus SBA, right? And then you're gonna ask, well, what's the difference, right? So for conventional loans, there are times where they're going to require a larger down payment, anywhere from 20-25%.
It's higher risk because you're basically just taking a loan on your name.
Yeah.
So for the SBA, what is the down payment?
We can, depending, it's case by case, but I've
Sure.
seen where we've got, creative with the deal where it was a business acquisition of a franchise. So, we did 5% from the buyer.
Wow.
And then the seller went in and did a seller's carry for 15%. So
Okay.
altogether, that's 15% down payment. And so you can get creative, such as things like that. Yeah.
Wow.
I wouldn't say it's going to be
No.
for every scenario.
Right.
Not everybody can qualify for that, but it has happened.
Sure. Well, and you have to have people that are willing to work through transactions.
Exactly.
Some people want all or none because they're exiting.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are times where so like for a business expansion, let's just say you have one location, you're trying to move out to a second location, business is doing good, you don't want to put any down payment. We have financed 100% before
Really?
for business expansion.
Expansion.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I can go on and on.
But you have an existing business. You're looking at the
Yeah.
income producing.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
You've got good numbers to base it off
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. So that's the key right there, guys. Can't do it all.
No.
But
of. Yes.
has
Please
it been
have
done?
a CPA that's doing all this stuff for you so you can.
That's
Not
really
pencil whipping?
important. That is crucial in this industry. It's really good to understand your financial from a business perspective, right?
You're dealing with self-employed people for the most part.
Yeah.
And I, as a realtor, I hate to say it, but I cringe when I hear that because the first thing I ask for is we got to get your tax returns to the lender.
Yeah.
Right.
Because without that, it's a mute point for
Right.
us.
Yes.
Right. Right.
And I think, as every business owners, it's a positive thing to understand your financial situation, right?
It is.
Um,
I mean, I'm independent, so
Yeah.
I mean, it's
So say you're going to buy, you found a franchise that you want to open and start up. So then you would need all the information from that franchise
Yeah.
company along with what the person that's going to start that franchise is
Correct.
going to do.
Correct,
Okay.
correct, yes.
Okay.
And we have a data system that, we work directly with all the franchise out there. So we can kind of see all of their scorings, how well the franchise is doing, how many locations do they currently have. So there is a scoring system
Sure.
with franchise too, And it's good to know because, you know what, then you can tell your buyers, hey, you know what, I understand you like this concept right now, but why don't we wait, for another year until, we can kind of see their true numbers and whatnot. And they really appreciate it. In the beginning, they're like, well, I mean, I really like to make this smoothie, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. No, I get it. I'm all about supporting your passions and vision, but,
Sure.
I mean, for me, realistically, towards the end of the day, I have to make sure that whatever I'm doing is for the best of my customers, right? And
Fiduciary duty.
yeah, and I'm guiding them towards the right,
So
direction.
it's not just that you could do the loan
No,
and
no.
do it. You want to
Spending
make sure
money
it's
is
good
easy.
for them.
Yeah.
It is.
I want to make sure you pay me back.
That's
now.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
and make a profit.
Right.
Earning it and keeping it is the art of the deal. Is
Yeah.
what I tell
we have
people.
some friends that had a franchise,
Yeah.
and it wasn't something they had done in the past,
No.
and it didn't work out well.
Yeah.
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 And so kudos to you for looking at that and saying, okay, is this franchise good? Is this a good match? All of it comes together.
Yeah.
Well, and it may work really good in, let's say, the Northeast,
Right.
but it could be a flop here, and that's
Exactly.
unbeknownst to people because they don't see them, so they think. And a couple of them could have already came and went unbeknownst to us.
Yeah.
So if they're thinking about that, they can give you a call and say, hey, can you look at this
Yeah.
one and just give me your
Absolutely.
thoughts,
Absolutely.
before I really start
Yeah.
taking too much time.
Well, that's a great barometer.
Yeah.
That's an awesome value that you have.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've helped out, so many bars out there, just by evaluating, the franchise themselves and because we have that database, you know what I mean? It's not to the public, obviously.
Right.
I mean, you can request it directly from the franchise, and they'll give you the full reportings before you sign up with them and everything. But for us, as someone that's looking at these financials all day long, we can see clearly more. Okay, is this
You
gonna
look
work
at
or
it
not?
through a different lens.
Yes,
That franchiser's selling you something.
we're here to protect the bars.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that's like you and I talk about, you get multiple contracts in on a property.
Yes.
And you'll look at, a seller will look at it and say, oh, I want this one because of the sales price.
Yeah.
And Richard will say, well, let's look at all the variables to this and see if that is the best.
That's exactly. Yeah.
I actually had a tax attorney argue with me, and I said, just please appease me and let me show you why I'm advising you to take this one over the one that you want.
Right.
And at the end of it, oh my God, you saved me thousands of dollars.
Exactly.
Because the devil's in the
Yes.
details.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that is so much value that
Yeah.
you can help with
Yeah.
people and that they're not overlooking
Yeah,
things.
yeah, and same thing with business acquisitions, right? When you're purchasing one business over another, it's easy for the seller to say, "Oh, my business is profitable. Here's, the financials and whatnot." And as a buyer, not all the time do they understand the business or they understand the financials when looking at it. You're not a CPA,
No,
right?
I'm not.
Yeah,
That's why
so-
I hire them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want the professional helping me.
That's right.
And so we have to step in and say, hey, you know what, I don't think this is right. I mean, I'm not going to jeopardize my buyers to buy this just because you're saying it's a good business, right? And there are times where, the buyers would be like, oh man, my feelings are so hurt. I really want this.
But it's business. You
It
can't
is.
be emotional. All
Right.
business is math.
Yeah.
So say there is a business that somebody has developed and, had and they want to sell it. Is there something that you can do to help them as the seller to kind of provide some information if a buyer's coming through? Hey, you can do an SBA loan on this property and this business.
Yeah, I've had sellers, provide me with their financials up front to say, hey, you know what, Nikki, I'm going to sell my business and I want to make sure that you're going to be, the lender, the person that's going to help out these buyers, because I want to make sure that they qualify to even, for me to go forward. So yeah, they've done that many times, and
But I think that would be a great benefit for the seller, because then you've got all of that information together.
You have a loanable transaction.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. And with those sellers, they have everything to the T. It's kind of like they already know this is what Nikki's going to require. So when you have a package like that and you have a lender to support, it's like, let me go talk to this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So that as a realtor, knowing that and being able to put y'all
It puts
together
more
and put all
confidence
that
in the deal on the buy side.
Yeah,
It does.
right.
If the bank's willing to loan money on it, obviously it makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Now, what you do after you get it,
It's up to you to manage it well. I
Yeah,
tell you
that's
that.
right.
But so, I mean, going back to that, one of the factors, just one of them, but a few things that we look for is going to be the management experience, right? We want, rather if it's to purchase, refinance, partner buyout, we want someone that's going to come in that has the experience, and they're not just going to be treating the business as if, they're just investing in it. Right. Yeah.
Silent partner.
We want owner operator, owner occupied.
That's the problem we have in our industry. Everybody thinks real estate's easy. It's not
Right.
mailbox money. It's
Yeah.
not passive income. It's a sales and marketing position.
Yeah.
So what if you don't have the background in it, but you do have a manager that is gonna?
Well, then that makes it a little bit more complicated. So then what happens is we're going to ask that manager if they have more than 10%, let's just say ownership, right? We're going to eventually ask them to guarantee on the loan as well. Right?
Skin in
Because
the game.
because we want management. We want someone that has the experience. And you're not just treating this business, as just an investment. So that's what SBA loans are for.
Okay.
And then you have the conventional ones where, okay, I want to buy a rental property. I'm just gonna, get the rental income off of it, and that's it. That's all. So there are differences, with SBA and conventional,
Okay.
and those are the
Okay.
biggest differences.
That makes sense.
And then plus, obviously conventional is a larger down payment.
How long is an SBA loan? How long do you run them out for?
So if there's real estate, then it goes up to 25-year term.
Okay.
Okay, so only if there's dirt tied to it.
Yes. If there's no dirt tied to it, then it'll be a 10-year term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good to know.
Well, a lot of commercial stuff, it's 5 years on renewals and stuff like that
Yeah,
as well.
yeah, those are
Yeah,
conventionals.
it's kind of like a balloon.
Yeah,
Right.
those are conventionals. Yeah. With
Yeah.
SBA, it's just 10.
So it's fixed 10 or fixed 25.
Yep. Yeah.
And I know I
Are
hate
they
to
lower
ask.
rates?
That's right.
Ah! Great minds think alike.
There it
Oh,
is. There it is. I know.
All right, we just pushed you into
the
the-
rates. Sorry, it's
It is. So, it is a variable rate. It adjusts every quarter.
Okay.
Again, depending on your financial institution, it's usually priced at prime plus, 1 to 2 to 3. All right. Again, depending on the loan product or, what the needs are and
Which
the
that's
financial
not
institution.
bad. I mean, in
It's not.
residential, it's typically prime plus 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're talking higher risk.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
we're talking about business here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Is
lower
there a
down payment.
max or anything in
Like
there?
Yes.
loan limits.
Yes.
Right.
So the maximum SBA loan size would be $5 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a minimum?
A minimum there is a minimum. Again, it just, depending on the bank, right, or the financial institution. I know for ours, the minimum is $350,000.
Okay.
I know there's other
Which that's
banks.
easy to spend today, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Very easy.
I mean, if you tie in all the closing costs,
the
like,
build out.
Yeah,
The,
Appraisal.
even
yeah,
if you're
anything.
leasing,
yeah,
the build out itself.
the
Oh,
inventories.
you could put $1 million into a build out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Seriously. Just a build out.
That is true. Nowadays, I mean, the cost of supplies and everything. Yeah, that
Well,
is
and then you're talking inventory, plus you have to have
Yeah.
reserve
like,
staff.
Yeah, and then,
Yeah.
furnitures, fixtures. I mean,
Oh, it's a lot.
yeah. So
Yeah.
we can actually add all those into a loan as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So let's just say, you're building out your smoothie shop. Richard.
Okay.
Okay.
I love
I
smoothies,
didn't
by the way.
know that you were doing that. Oh,
I
I
do that
learned
every day.
something new. Okay.
Well, Richard, I mean, yeah, the build out cost is going to cost you, 400,000, but then you're going to need inventories, which is another 50,000. But you got to hire all these staffs, right? Because you can't, run all
You
that.
can't
by
do it by yourself.
Yeah, that's another 50,000 right there. Oh, you need furnitures, I mean, yeah, we can actually roll all that into one loan, into one SBA loan. So it's not, hey.
So you're not putting it on a credit card at a much higher interest. You're
Yeah.
rolling it all into one. Your financials are better. Everything.
Yeah, it helps with the
Yes.
business cash flow.
Can you write off the interest of the SBA loan?
Yes, you can. That's a CPA question, though, but yes,
Okay.
you can.
Okay.
Huge.
Yeah.
So the interest doesn't matter then.
No, because those are.
I mean, it does,
write-offs.
but it doesn't.
It does. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But
It's a moot point if you take it off at the
It's
end
a
of the year.
write-off.
Yeah, it is a write-off. Yeah.
Wow. That's cool.
Have you, Priscilla, since you're in the title business, have you done an SBA loan before? Have you
We
closed on
have
one?
closed numerous SBA loans.
Okay.
Yes.
And what's your thoughts on those?
And I think it's wonderful because it does help somebody to start their own business that
Right.
maybe have been in an industry, working for somebody else, and now they're ready to do their own. And it's exciting for us, in that closing room that we're getting to help them, pull everything together and get them to that part where it's theirs now.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Because they
agree.
worked for somebody else for so long, and now they're ready to do it on their own.
Yeah, and I think
So-
that's really rewarding. What I would say out there to business owners in general is, before you get an SBA loan or preparing for any financing, just make sure you have all your taxes together. You understand your business model, you understand your business financials. And if there's something you don't understand, make sure you reach out to your CPA, your accountant, whatnot, right?
So the CPA accountant would put your business model together kind of for you for it to be sent to y'all.
Not necessarily all the time, but because I mean, it depends on how involved the borrowers are too, right? I mean, I have customers that they come in and they already have everything. They don't even need their CPA. They're like, hey, this is how much my revenue is generating, every year, for the last 3 years. This is where I'm at right now. This is how I'm going to scale in the next 3 years because of this loan.
Okay.
So
They
they
have a
Okay.
business plan.
Right.
yeah, they got it all together.
Okay.
And then there are some where they might need a little bit more help. Where I mean, I might have to get their CPA involved and say, hey, walk me through, what happened this year, or how are we gonna grow, right? So yeah, just depending on the customers themselves.
Okay.
What if they write everything off? Not that we've never seen that.
Oh no, we've never seen that before.
Yeah.
I mean, so with us, we would factor in, some of the write-offs, if it's a one-time expense.
Sure.
Because if it's just like, hey, you're getting losses every single year, I'm like, well, why are we still in business? Why are we asking for more money?
Right.
Now, if there's a year where it's like, hey, you know what, we had to shut down due to, the tornado, right, for like
Right.
5 months.
There's a story that goes with
Right.
it. It adds up.
yeah.
Right. Insurance covered this part.
Yeah,
Now we need to get a loan to cover the rest of it that we've got to replace. So
Right.
there's instances that's going to happen.
Yeah. That's different, right? But then if you're talking about, hey, I'm just not making money, and it shows, and I'm
Right.
like, oh, I can't help you, I
And
mean,
you growing it may not make it better.
right. And then, obviously being prepared to understand, hey, I'm about to get into, some debts, right? What is this debt going to do for me? Is it going to, hurt me, right? Or am I going to really leverage off of this? So, for us, I mean, we would evaluate all of that. Just because you have money, you can put a large down payment, but if I'm going to hurt you, more than anything, I would not advise you doing the loan, so we
I
always
bet
make sure we take
Your
care of our customers.
conversations are long, detailed,
Yeah.
and I mean, wow, that's a lot. But your knowledge base from doing these is extensive
Yeah.
because you really understand business.
Yeah, you have to understand the business and how, and each and every business is operated differently. So, looking at their financials model, it has to align with the industry themselves too.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Wow,
it's very
that's huge.
very rewarding at times, but lots to put it, into
Yeah,
it.
lots.
Yeah.
You get to have some difficult conversations, I'm sure.
Oh, all the time. It's
Yeah.
just like we can't do it, but hey, let's revisit next year.
Yeah,
Right.
but you're keeping them out of the fire.
Right. It's like trust me.
Because nobody wants to set somebody up for failure.
No,
Right.
you can't.
You
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
Right.
You won't stay in business doing that.
No, and it's not about doing the loan. It's more about helping out the customers. you
Right.
know?
It's the relationship.
Yeah, and majority of them, I think about 99% of them understands and they see the value. So even when we turn them down, it's kind of like, okay, this is why. I'm not turning you down. I'm turning the transaction down.
Right.
You
Don't
know?
take it personal. It's business.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Well, and there's a reason. And sometimes we don't see what that reason is, and we
Right.
just want to go forward. We want to make it happen.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's not supposed to.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
Any questions from our audience? No?
You have any questions, Jake?
Any? Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Any final thoughts you guys have? Any final questions? Anything?
If they want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach out and connect with you and your company, Nikki?
So you can feel free to email me, and I think Jake, if you can put up my email address and my business card, that way we don't,
Yeah, I'll put it in the chat.
Okay,
Okay.
great, thank you. But yeah, again, I'm Nikki with Velocity SBA. We
She's
are a
right here in
national
Katy.
lender, right here
She
in
is
Katy.
here in Katy to
Yes.
help all these Katy, all this development that's going on. I mean, the boardwalk,
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of business development going on
Yes,
right now.
yes,
So
yes.
they need you.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're out networking with the local businesses
Yeah.
because that's actually where I met you and your
Yeah,
husband
yeah,
at.
exactly. Yeah.
So she's actually very active in our community as well to help with this.
That's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. We're talking about doing, a few, SBA trainings.
We're getting her going in
Oh, yeah,
2025.
yeah, I know.
Yeah, but so many people don't understand the SBA. And so I thought this was such a great
Well, when I met you and you said you did that, I was like, you got to come on the podcast.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
you probably looked at me like I had a hole in my head, but I'm like, what a great thing to share with people
Yeah.
because
Nobody understands.
nobody
it.
understands it or talks about
Right.
it. They don't.
That's true. That's true. And it's not a I mean it's not an easy topic, right?
No.
And there's always constant changes and updates with the guidelines from SBA too. So even for us as lenders, I mean, one thing might stick today, but the next day it changes right away. So
Yeah.
it's constant changes, depending on
Well, that's
economy
with
and everything.
FHA and VA and all those. There's constant
Yeah.
changes. So
Exactly.
that's going to happen.
Oh,
But
especially during COVID, I experienced that numerous times.
Oh.
I went from deal to no deal to deal to no deal, and it was just like
yeah.
I felt like a juggler. I mean, just like, can I
Yeah.
keep it all going? I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see a bunch of changes as well on your side?
Oh yeah, so I was processing the PPP program during
Okay.
that time. One day this was the guidelines, and then 2 days later it changes. So you got to go back to that same application and update it, within the changes, and then that changes, that guideline changes. So many changes during COVID, because I mean, everybody was figuring out
Right.
COVID is a new thing, during
Oh yeah,
2020.
the dust was not settled.
No, I mean,
You were just walking through a dust trying to
Yeah.
collect pieces. It was crazy.
And I mean, after the fact, we found as the title company, these liens and stuff that were added to properties, and people had no idea what it really meant. They were just surviving.
yeah.
They were doing things to survive and keep it
Sure.
going, but then these extra liens show up against these properties, and yeah, it's
Oh, and
been
then
difficult.
the people that, what was the word I'm looking for? Where they didn't make their mortgage payments.
And then that rolled off or onto the end at a higher interest rate.
Yeah.
Right.
They had no idea.
They had
they
no
just
idea.
Signed.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
just signed. And so it was.
It was a hard time,
It
for
was.
everyone. I think, from, with the banks, to all the businesses, unfortunately, and even with Congress, they were figuring out at that time
Oh, yeah.
too. You know, like what do we do with this thing? You know,
That year, all you ever heard that year was unprecedented. Unprecedented. Everything was unprecedented. If I never hear that word again, I'll be okay.
But we survived it.
Yeah,
We did.
We did.
And thrived from it.
I agree.
And continue to.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, what do you think for 2025? I think we're going to see some great things happen.
I think so too. I think so.
Absolutely.
I mean, with the the rates, dropping and whatnot, a lot of business will, they will succeed for sure in 2025.
Yeah, I think they'll see a great benefit, and things are going to be good.
Yeah.
Consumer confidence. We're also in an area that everybody's coming to. I mean, we've had 400,000 people come to our local market in the last 18 months.
Wow.
Think about that. That's huge.
That is huge.
Wow.
I mean, how many cities have 400,000 people in it?
Yeah.
That is a lot.
And
That's
add
just the local. That's
400,000
just the local
in
Houston area.
18 months. Wow.
Wow.
I did not know that.
That's a large amount.
Yep.
And some more is coming, I'm sure.
And they're still coming daily. We
Yeah.
drive around. Look at all the out-of-state plates that are around here.
that is
They're
true.
everywhere.
Oh, well, every time I drive around Katy, I mean, it's like, wait a minute, I thought I drove through here last month and there's a new building going up or new apartments.
I know.
Or
All these
something.
development.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of developments.
Texas Heritage Parkway. Go drive down that. Look at all the apartments, all the homes, all the rooftops. I mean, the commercial's coming, but I mean, it's already way out there.
Yeah, that is true.
And
I think Berkshire and Katy are about to grow together.
You think so?
What? Drive down 359 between Fulshire and Berkshire. Look at all the development there. I mean, whole neighborhoods, crazy.
Oh, and like Timron, where Jake, you live. I drove through there the other day, and I was.
They have
And
Cameron
wait,
West now.
You live there also.
Yeah.
Y'all are neighbors.
Huge neighborhood.
But that's a huge community. I did not realize it was so big.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the roundabouts.
Oh, yeah. They just keep on coming.
Yeah.
Circle of Death's what I
Just
call
keep
it.
on
It's a roundabout. Okay, well, let's go roundabout.
In
Okay.
Europe, they grew up with it. Here, this is all brand new for people here.
Yeah,
That's true. That is true.
but Tamron is all
Yeah.
roundabout.
Well, Heritage Parkway. I think there's 11 of them on a Heritage Parkway, if I remember right. In between Fulshire and I-10.
See how we go off on tangents? Talking about roundabouts. But I lived in Dubai, so I was used to the roundabouts because everything was.
Yeah.
But I wasn't used to it here in the States.
And then most people, they don't know what lane to be in. That
Yeah, that's
Completely
that's the
that is
confuses
hard.
them.
That
If
is
somebody's
is.
in there, they're not going to move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is pretty confusing, I have to say.
yes.
So, I know. We just went to a different area
Yeah.
of conversation, which is normal.
Which is
It is.
it's okay.
That's why people tune in.
Never know. Oh.
But yeah.
Well, any final thoughts before we wrap things up, guys?
The only thing we were talking about earlier is Redline Realty does your charity drives once
Every
a quarter.
Yes.
The next one coming up, we will follow up with a date soon, is
We'll
blood
be
drive.
announcing a blood drive, so
save your
please
blood.
come out. We want your blood. And just so
need it.
everybody knows, Houston runs out of blood every single day. A lot of people do not know that statistic.
It's huge.
So if you can donate blood, and I know some people can't, please come out and support us and donate the blood.
Ask your friend to come. Bring them.
Yes.
Do that if you can't, and because we have a friend that her husband is getting blood weekly almost.
Transfusions.
Wow.
Yes.
So it is huge, and it's when it hits close to home.
Yeah. That's hard. That is hard.
Well, nobody thinks about it till it affects them. So let's get proactive and get in front of it and get a surplus of blood in the city.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So I like it. So good things.
Yeah.
All right. Before we wrap up, again, if they want to contact you, what's the best way to reach out to you, Nikki?
So Jake is gonna post my contact information.
Perfect.
And let me know if you guys need anything. And thank you so much for your time. And
You're welcome. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes, thank you.
All right. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.